study on Home Depot, which has violated the PIPEDA, which is Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act. Before we get into the meat of the case study, just a small description on PIPEDA. PIPEDA is a law enacted by Canada in 13th April 2000. It governs how private sector organizations should collect, use, and disclose personal information in their day-to-day activities. Okay, now going to the executive summary. First of all, the incident is the violation company is Home Depot. It's a US-based MNC which specializes in home improvement. So they sell home appliances, tools, and hardware. The violation that was they made was reported by the Office of Privacy Commission. This is the office which safeguards and investigates all PIPEDA violations. So what happened was the company Home Depot, its Canadian branch, shared the customer information to Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook. What they did was when customer did the transaction when they opted for e-receipts, so their information was shared with Meta without their consent. So the Home Depot's initial response to this allegation was that they did get consent from the customers, but it was not directly. It was through privacy statements. But however, OPC rejected this argument as privacy statements are not readily available to customers, and did not clearly explain the practice. Finally, OPC gives them 3 recommendations to Home Depot what must be done. So these 3 recommendations will be told by UJ in the next slide. Okay, so I hand out to UJ.
Okay, my name is UJ. I want to talk about the as-was analysis. So in this slide, we introduce the investigation of Office of the Privacy Commissioner of Canada into Home Depot of Canada. The investigation was prompted by concerns regarding the sharing of customer information with Meta through offline conversation. Then coming to the second slide, we focus on investigation finding, which revealed that Home Depot had not obtained valid and meaningful consent from its customers before sharing their information with Meta. The investigation concluded that the consent model used by Home Depot placed an undue burden on customers to understand the privacy policy of both Home Depot and Meta. Then coming to the third slide, we discovered that the recommendation made by the Privacy Commissioner of Home Depot, this recommendation, including halting the disclosure of customers' information to Meta until valid consent measures were implemented, and amending privacy communication to improve transparency regarding the data sharing practices. Then coming to the final slide, we present the conclusion of the investigation, highlighting that Home Depot complied with the recommendation made by the Privacy Commissioner. The matter was then well-founded and resolved. This case serves as a reminder of the importance of obtaining valid consent and maintaining transparency privacy practices when handling personal information. Then handing over to the next person.
To adhere to law regulation and avoid similar issues, this company like Home Depot should take the following actions, like obtain valid consent, like clearly inform customers about the collection, use, and disclosure of their personal information. And next is transparency and communication. Means clearly communicate the purpose of for which the personal information will be used or disclosed, and ensure that privacy communications include privacy statements and policies are easily accessible, comprehensive, and written in a way that individuals can understand. And next is choice and control. Provide individuals the clear choice regarding the use of disclosure of their personal information. Means allow individuals to easily withdraw their consent if they no longer wish to participate in certain data processing activities. And last is privacy by design. Integrate privacy consideration into the design of products, services, and data processing activities. Next slide. So we will see the consequences of non-compliance. starting with the regulatory actions and fines and penalties. The regulatory bodies like the Office of Privacy Commissioner have the authority to investigate complaints and enforce actions against companies that fail to comply with regulations. This could lead to fines and penalties varying based on the severity of breach and jurisdiction involved. And next is reputational damage. The privacy breaches and non-compliance can lead to significant reputational damage, eroding customer trust and loyalty. And finally, legal consequences and operational impact. So if the companies don't follow privacy laws, they could face legal consequences, including lawsuit from individuals or class action suits. And additionally, sticking to privacy regulations may mean making changes to how a company operates daily, which could lead to increased cost for complaints. So now I will hand over to Darshana.
Thanks, Basil. I'm here to present the SWOT analysis on Home Depot. Coming to the strength, the Home Depot did well with the cooperation of the investigation, and they provided a clear understanding of the issue of what went wrong. And regulatory compliance, they very well cooperated how to comply with the PIPEDA after the incident was reported. Coming to the weakness, the lack of transparency of the consent given to Home Depot did not adequately inform the customers about the disclosure of their personal information to Meta, which kept the customers' knowledge in a gray area. And they told it was an implied consent, which was also aggravated the customers' understanding of that practice. Then the consent model, Home Depot resulted in a failure to obtain a meaningful consent for the disclosure of customer information. And opportunities are enhanced privacy practices. They could focus more on how to improve their customer privacy, and how transparent the communication can be in the future is another area of opportunity for them. And compliance with the privacy regulation. Talking about the threat, as in all cases, we see there is a reputational damage on Home Depot side, and they face legal consequences also affecting their reputation and the customer backslash. They turned out to be many unhappy customers for Home Depot after this data breach. Next, I hand it over to Paul for recommendations and lessons learned.
Today I'm going to present about the lessons learned from this Home Depot case study. So we can understand the criticality of valid consent before collecting personal information. Also, Home Depot has used implied consent to share the data to Meta, and it is clearly understandable that the explicit consent is necessary for sharing such information. And by also the companies should implement transparency and accessibility in communications for the customers to understand about the data sharing. And also from this case study, as a customers, we should have also learned about the permissions which we given to organization for the data sharing. Moving to next slide. So these are some recommendations for the small medium businesses to navigate through the complexities of legal landscapes. First one is enhancing consent mechanism by keeping it clear and by getting active user consent so that the users can easily revoke the permissions, and also educate the stakeholders by giving clear guidance and about the standards and legal formalities. Also do the regular compliance audits to make sure that the data practices are compliant with the legal emerging standards. And also by creating a checklist, we can easily do the compliance audits. And the last one is clear and understandable communication. So make sure that the communication is in a transparent manner and understandable to all the customers. So by enhancing transparent communication and by getting explicit content, organization can easily comply with the legal formalities of the data sharing, etc., and comply with PIPEDA. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Have a good day.